Bellarmine making the jump from Division II to Division I a couple of years ago. This is the first season, Zach, that they could be postseason eligible.
Of course, that jump from Division II to Division I means you have 4 years you have to sit out of postseason eligibility. The Knights now 9-2 to start the year, looking for that first ever Division I NCAA tournament berth.
Indiana starts out on offense. Moore McNeil, only 5 assists away from moving into 6th all-time on the all-time assist list at Indiana. Chesky's first shot, no good. Offensive rebound down low. Lamandola can't clean it up, but they'll hold on to it.
Something to keep an eye on all game, Cruz. This is a very small Bellarmine Knights team, so look for Indiana to try and cash in on the offensive glass.
Hoosiers coming off their first conference win against Penn State on the road just about a week ago. Plenty of time off for the Hoosiers. Garzone a triple. Lamandola with another offensive rebound. Garzone got a triple. First assist of the afternoon for Chloe Moore McNeil. She's now only 5 away.
And Cruz, that's a 45-second possession, 2 different offensive rebounds, 3 shots for the Hoosiers to start this game.
Correction, I should say 4 away from moving into 6th all-time on the Indiana all-time assist list. Bellarmine coming off a tough win in their own right on Wednesday, a comeback win against Chattanooga. First shot of the day for the Knights missed. Ashley Harris, the Louisville native, missing that one. Chesky, a lane. That's a quick 5-0 start for the Hoosiers.
You can see Terry Moore on the sideline imploring Chloe Moore McNeil to push the pace there. That's what she did.
Offensive foul. Haley Harrison ran over Juliana Lamandola, and a picture-perfect start for Indiana here this afternoon.
And that's what Juliana Lamandola has brought to this Indiana team since being inserted into the starting lineup. As you see Terry Moore in there, the 2023 National Coach of the Year. She's inserted Juliana Lamandola into the starting lineup without Sydney Parrish, and Lamandola's done exactly that, the little things. They aren't going to necessarily show up in the stat sheet game in and game out, but she's going to do the little things that help your team win.
Quick 5-0 jump for Indiana to begin this game. Lamandola into the starting lineup for the injured Sydney Parrish. Meister in the post. Indiana hot out of the gate to start. Pull-up jumper Harrison, and she got that one to go. Haley Harrison, the Winchester, Kentucky native. Transfer out of UC Martin, coming off a 9-point game this past Thursday in that win over Chattanooga.
So the team's leading scorer just under 16 points a night.
There's trouble. Moore McNeil had it batted away. And a great hustle by Hope Savory to pick it up. Knights quickly into the front court. And Haley Harrison traveled.
But back on the other end there, Cruz, that's exactly what the Knights do. They speed you up offensively. There you see Chancellor Dugan, her 13th season with the Knights. She's been with the Knights throughout this transition from Division II to Division I. But Bellarmine, they want to speed you up. They want to force those turnovers. They want to then get out and run.
Chance Dugan picked up her 500th career win against Chattanooga on Thursday, and it happened in some of the most unlikely circumstances. We'll get more to that later. Meister floater. Lily Meister with back-to-back buckets for this Hoosiers offense.
You can see already, Cruz, the heavy emphasis for Indiana to use that size advantage down low.
This is not a very big Bellarmine team. Their tallest player, Skylar Treadwell, at 6'1". Indiana has plenty of height to go along with their post play.
The Hoosiers start 3 players that are 6'1" or taller.
5 on the clock for Savory with the left hand. Wow, what a tough finish for Hope Savory. And that silences this Indiana crowd, at least for the meantime. And a turnover. This is something that Bellarmine does better than almost anybody in the country. Zach, you mentioned it in the open. Averages nearly 21 forced turnovers a game. And a tough finish on the inside by Mia Brown. Back-to-back tough finishes for the Knights.
And it's not just forcing those turnovers, Cruz. It's forcing those turnovers and translating them into directly offense on the other side of the floor like we just saw there.
Bellarmine averages nearly 77 points a game. And at that pace, they don't turn it over very much, just under 15 times a game. Chesky on the jumper.
Smart there from Chesky. The last two turnovers for Indiana have come around that free throw line area, trying to put the ball on the floor and dribble through traffic. Chesky pulling up before she meets all those defenders.
Treadwell pulling up and knocking down the jumper. Zach, Indiana has faced a lot of tough non-conference opponents. We had a feeling coming in that Bellarmine would be more or less the same. They're off to their best start since transitioning over to Division I, a 9-2 start for the Knights this year.
Talk about those games early in the season against Brown and Harvard, two of the top teams in the Ivy League.
Meister missed it, and Bellarmine looking to run. And a double dribble. Haley Harrison with a couple of turnovers here in the opening segment. This will be the first time that we see Caroline Strickland check into the game. 27 points, 2 off a career high against Penn State just the other day.
A perfect game. She did not miss a shot, Cruz. She was fantastic in that game against Penn State. A perfect 12 for 12 from the field. And it is just not any easier for Bellarmine as far as that size is concerned when Indiana goes to the bench. Strickland coming in, checking in, 6'3", so still plenty of size advantage for the Hoosiers.
Indiana got off to a quick 7-0 spurt. It has been 8-4 in favor of Bellarmine since. Garzone can't knock down the three from outside. And the Knights will take it back the other direction. Erin Toller down low. She got the game winner the other night against Chattanooga off the bench. Averages 11.1 points a game. Started the first game of the year and has come off the bench ever since. Garzone the three.
If Bellarmine's going to keep leaving Yard and Garzone open, she is going to make them pay more often than not. Just under 40% from deep so far this season.
28 of 73 coming into today's game. A counteract for Bellarmine, no good from Louisville native Ashley Harris. Chesky sees a lane. La Mendola from up top. Chance Dugan wants to talk it over. Indiana on fire from the field. Here to begin against Bellarmine. We'll take a quick step aside and return on the other side of this break on Big Ten Plus. As we return to action here from Bloomington. There is Erin Toller, had the game winner against Chattanooga on Thursday. Her third stop collegiately, played at Kentucky for a year, then spent some time at Georgetown College. Jumper on the way from Treadwell.
It's a big shot for Treadwell to hit because if she's able to knock down that shot, it takes a player like Caroline Strickland away from the basket defensively.
Alexis Bargesser getting her first touch of the game. Here's zone down low and a foul. Erin Toller going to pick up this one.
Tough defensive assignment there for Toller. All alone on an island in the post against Garzone. Garzone's just going to use that size advantage down low and try to get a good look. Bellarmine probably going to think about sending a couple of bodies that way the next time that Garzone gets that deep post position.
Trio of Knights checking back in. Two Kentucky natives in Hope Savori and Haley Harrison checking in, and another Louisville native, Mia Beam, checking in for the first time for Bellarmine as well. Down low, Strickland. Haley Harrison went down to the ground. There was no call, and good presence of mind with Strickland to go up with it.
Double team just a little bit late there, Cruz. Bellarmine kind of caught in between doubling on the catch and doubling on the dribble so far to start. They've got to pick one or the other.
Once again, that size down low for Indiana being exploited offensively. Case Hyman up top, seeing her first action this afternoon as well. Savori to the top. Toller with 6 inside and a tough finish. They've already had a couple of those so far today, Zach.
And that's when you know your team is deep and your lineup is deep, when you can bring somebody like Aaron Toller off the bench who averages 11 points a game.
Chesky got some space, couldn't knock it in. Striplin there to tap it to herself. She has a lane and is able to finish it off.
It's already offensive rebound number 4 in this game, Cruz. Indiana crashing the offensive glass with conviction.
21 first quarter points for Indiana, and a turnover on the Knights.
Looks like we might get some full court pressure here. Chance Dugan, the head coach for the Knights, imploring your team to kind of step up and try and speed this game up. Indiana's looked rather comfortable so far offensively. Bellarmine trying to change that.
And speaking of comfortability, this is something that Bellarmine is very comfortable with. This is how they have gotten back into games when they've trailed late in them. They extend their defense out, and this is something that Terry Morin was concerned about. And I'm sure she'll be concerned about that too. Offensive foul on Chesky.
Chesky too physical, just extending that off arm. And that's exactly what you mentioned, Cruz. Bellarmine does this to you. Not all of their 21 turnovers a game are live ball turnovers, but they force you to speed up. They force you to do uncharacteristic things like we saw right there with Chesky.
Now this is a Bellarmine team who has a lot of fight in them. They already have won 3 games this year where they have trailed by double figures in the second half. One of those happened to be on Thursday against Chattanooga. Toller going to work in the paint on Bargesser. And she shuffled her feet.
Great defense there from Bargesser. You could see the hands straight up the entire time, never coming down or chopping down at those hands, sliding the feet and playing defense with her body. That's excellent defense there from Bargesser.
Bellarmine maintaining that full court pressure. Bargesser into the front court. She missed some time earlier this year with an injury. Again, a slew of Indiana players out today as well. Down low, Striplin got fouled.
Can see Indiana not afraid to play inside-out basketball tonight. We've already seen a lot of driving kicks, a lot of post entries that have led to kickouts. But Carolyn Striplin, she's been fantastic as of late, especially with that career-high 27-point performance against Penn State. Her first trip to the line tonight.
And her first shot's good. Carolyn Striplin, Hartford, Alabama native, played for her mom at Geneva County High School. Third player in school history, or I should say in the state of Alabama, to reach 2,000 career points and 2,000 career rebounds.
She brings plenty of experience to the table as well. 91 career appearances, 31 starts during her 3 seasons with the Volunteers in Knoxville.
She had a big game against Penn State last week, and another tough finish for Bellarmine. Treadwell this time able to spin it off the glass.
If you're that Indiana bench, you're not going to be too upset with that. That's good defense, just better offense right there from Treadwell.
Approaching 1 minute to go in this opening quarter. Chesky. Now more McNeil. Has to get rid of it. A lot of shot fakes for Indiana on this possession. Striplin got her own miss. And she finishes it off with the left-hand layup. Savory back the other way. Another tough shot. That one not going in. And now the Hoosiers on the break. About 2 seconds separating the shot clock and game clock. Chloe Moore McNeil says, who cares? I'll go get 2.
No help defense there on that drive. No dig from that strong side corner defender. You're taught not to help off the strong side corner. So Moore McNeil knew she would have plenty of space to operate.
Toller with 5. Toller a step back. Misses everything. And Indiana's going to get a shot with 1.5.
We've already kind of seen it. This frenetic and kind of haywire defense for the Knights has left open a lot of opportunities on the offensive glass for Indiana because the Knights are getting themselves out of position and having to over-rotate a little bit this early.
Moore McNeil had it batted away, and she won't get a shot up. Strong first quarter for Indiana. They lead by 13 here on Big Ten Plus. We'll take a quick step aside. They're off to a little bit of a slow start here against Indiana. This second period will be huge for the Knights. And it gets off to a good start. Haley Harrison will step to the stripe for 2.
I think the biggest telling point, though, Cruz, has been just 2 points off of turnovers and no fast break points for Bellarmine in that first quarter. You can see there Garzone just a little bit too physical on that drive defensively. Harrison has to try and find a way to get to the basket. That's where she's at her best.
First shot goes down for Haley Harrison. She's third-team All-ASUN a year ago, spent 3 years at UT Martin. It's the third leading scorer in the ASUN. 3 of the top 5 scorers, or I should say 2 of the top 5 scorers in the ASUN, a part of this Bellarmine Knights team, the other being Hope Savory. Bargesser on the break, 2-on-1. And it's stolen from behind, Mia Brown. She couldn't turn on the brakes in time.
Good execution by Indiana in that full court set. And equally good defense. This is a team, we've talked about the turnovers, this is very active hands. That's what creates a lot of these deflections for Bellarmine.
Lamandola has to put it on the floor. Indiana still holding on to that 11-point lead. Lamandola spinning into the lane, and she shuffled her feet.
An excellent job there by Skylar Treadwell down low, kind of three-quarter fronting Lily Meister, making that pass difficult from the wing. If the Bellarmine Knights are going to front like that, Indiana's going to have to flash somebody to that free throw line and try and get the ball down to Meister some other way.
Well, not that they need to be tested, but their effort certainly will be tested against these Indiana bigs today. Now a foul on Chloe Moore-McNeil.
This is what Indiana can't afford. Already 2 fouls within the first 60 seconds of this second quarter. The Hoosiers have to get back to playing defense without fouling like we saw in that opening frame.
Moore-McNeil, the guilty party on that foul. She is 1 assist shy of the 400 assist mark and is 2 assists shy of moving into 6th all time. Wild shot. That one no good by Harrison. Garzone down low. Bargesser recovers it. And she's able to finish it off.
Right there, Cruz. Chloe Moore-McNeil doesn't get the assist. That's a hockey assist, but the hit-ahead pass was crucial there.
Brown underneath has to get rid of it. Now Harris a jumper. Back rim. And the offensive rebound picked up by Savory. Three-pointer. And Treadwell knocks it in. Skylar Treadwell coming off a 12-point outing against Chattanooga. Averages just a hair under 9 points a game. Bellarmine hanging around here in the second quarter. Well, they still have some work to do to try to chip into this double-figure lead. Here's own pocket pass, got kicked.
See there, that almost looked like a predetermined pass there from Garzone. She's got to try and take that a little bit deeper, take what that defense is giving her in that situation. You can see she had space to kind of attack Treadwell, that drop defender, but she elected to try and pass it through traffic.
Corner, Bargesser. Got it. Bargesser's first triple of the year. And the Hoosiers have extended their lead to 13. Treadwell, floater. Left it short. Almost got her own rebound. Lamandola comes up with it instead. Bargesser with the handle and a foul from behind on Savory.
Kind of seeing this pressure, the full court pressure, even the pressure in the half court for Bellarmine hasn't been as effective tonight because at any given time, Indiana's got 4 different players that can all handle the ball and can all handle pressure from a ball handling perspective. So Indiana's got enough ball handlers, they've got enough players they trust with the ball in their hands to not turn it over. And right now, Bellarmine's having a difficult time speeding up this Indiana offense.
And that wasn't always the case this season. They got off to a slow start handling the ball, but over the last 3 games, only 11 turnovers per game over that span.
Of course, you think back to that loss against Harvard, 27 turnovers for Indiana in that one.
Stripling down low for 2. And Indiana opening up a 15-point lead on Bellarmine.
This is, we talked to assistant coach Linda Sayavongcheng earlier today. She said it would be important to keep the foot on the gas pedal if Indiana was to build an early lead.
Savory with the counter down low.
Said Indiana's been able to develop a couple of big early leads early on in games, but they've let teams back into ball games. That's not something they can afford to do against this Knights squad.
Moore McNeil looking for assist number 400. Instead, she'll look for three. And she can't put that one in. Lamandola fighting for it. And Harrison ultimately comes up with it. Harrison wild pass trying to lead Ashley Harris. It was too far out in front of her.
Miscommunication there. Harrison thought Harris was going to crash to the basket. Instead, she spaced to the corner.
Hannah Sandvik in for the first time for Indiana. Aaron Toller returning for Bellarmine.
And Cruz, I've been impressed with Indiana's transition defense so far, especially considering how many people they've sent to that offensive glass. The Hoosiers have done a good job with their floor balance and getting back in transition.
One more, Sandvik a triple. Got it. Hannah Sandvik knocking down a triple. And Indiana has opened up a 16-point lead now, their largest of the day.
Now 5 of 10 from three-point range, too.
Indiana on the season shooting 32% from beyond the arc. They've gotten off to a hot start from outside today. That shot rejected by Garzone. Chesky. Moore McNeil down low and a foul. Treadwell picks it up as Striplin went down to the ground.
Just the first on Treadwell. As Striplin's back up. Again, Indiana Cruz looking for that post entry. That one might not have been there, but Striplin was awarded that foul call.
Moore McNeil down low, and there's number 400. Carolyn Striplin able to finish it, and Chloe Moore McNeil has reached 400 career assists.
It's a great pass, only where Striplin could get it, and an equally as impressive catch.
She's just one away now from reaching the 6th place all-time on that all-time assist list in Indiana women's basketball history. Chesky being harassed into the front court, and Harrison flagged for that personal.
Goes back to what I was saying just a second ago, though, Cruz. Right there, Shea Chesky got that defensive rebound, and she can just take it up the floor herself. Indiana has so many capable ball handlers on this team. It's really not been a challenge to face this full court pressure and the hounding and harassing defense of the night so far.
Approaching the under 5 media timeout. And Garzone draws a foul. Harris this time.
Yarden Garzone has about an 8-inch height advantage there in this matchup with Ashley Harris. She's looking to use that to her advantage.
And Zach, this is an Indiana team that has had their fair share of struggles against tough D1 opponents so far this year. Sandvik can't get it to go, but a foul. This is a team that has struggled against some good non-con D1 opponents this year. And Bellarmine might have one of the most impressive resumes of all of them so far this year. Went up to Mackey Arena and put together a 25-0 run against the Boilermakers on the road earlier this year. And Indiana has handled them like they expected this.
This is a good matchup for Indiana, especially considering the height advantage. And as we talked about, the ability to kind of handle the pressure. You've got seniors at the guard spots. You've got veteran players up and down the roster that know how to handle the pressure. So this is a good matchup for Indiana. But if you ask Terry Moore, and I think she would probably say this is probably the most complete half of the season Indiana's put together, maybe outside of that ranked win against Baylor or Stanford.
Sandvik, 75% free throw shooter, knocks down both of them. It's a 20-point lead for Indiana. Toller pull up, and she cuts it to 18.
It's crazy, Cruz. Bellarmine shooting 50% from the floor. It's not like they're missing every shot they take. They have 7 turnovers, though, and Indiana's just been suffocating on that end of the floor.
Meister holds on to it. Next dead ball will take us to the under 5 media timeout. Garzone pull up. Yes. And a whistle away from the ball. And an off-ball foul on Lily Meister. And so that will take us to the under 5 media timeout in the second quarter. Indiana holding on to a 20-point lead over Bellarmine.
Little by little, and it starts right here with this last stretch of the first half.
And if there's any team that has proved that they can mount a comeback, especially late in the game, it's this Bellarmine Knights team. 3 games that they have trailed in the final period of play that they have came back to win.
It starts with the getting out of the half court offensively, forcing more turnovers, getting out and running. Still on the game so far, 0 fast break points for the Knights.
Hyman down low on Sandvik, and she stuffed it. And the offensive rebound, she couldn't put it in. Meister clears it for Indiana. Chesky, pass down low, and Sandvik caps it off with a layup.
The willingness to run in transition, not just the person with the ball, but the support following down the court that time, Bargesser and Sandvik.
Euro step into travel. Another Bellarmine turnover. That's their 8th of the first half.
We talk so much, Cruz, in this game about the turnover battle. As you see, just one too many steps there. Coming to that hop step there was Hyman. The turnover battle is typically +8 in favor, +7 I should say, in favor of Bellarmine against their opponents this season. Right now, Bellarmine is -3 in the turnover department tonight.
Yeah, they turned it over just a hair under 15 a game, but they force nearly 21 a game against their opponents. It's a very scrappy and tenacious defense that the Knights throw out night in and night out. Chesky, Sandvik corner pocket. How about the day Henna Sandvik's had off the bench?
It's double figures now for Sandvik. She's got 10, a pair of threes as well.
That's already a new career high for Henna Sandvik as well.
Came in averaging just 1.9 points per game.
And an offensive foul, a moving screen on the Knights. Ashley Harris called for the moving screen.
We talked with Indiana before this game, Cruz. They said that they might expect a little bit of zone tonight, or this afternoon, I should say, from the Knights. But when Indiana's shooting 6 of 11 from three-point range, you can't really go into the zone if you're Bellarmine.
Down low, shot missed by Bargesser. She'll go to the free throw line.
14-2 run for Indiana over the last 3 minutes and 16 seconds. 7-0 run over the last 80 seconds. Hoosiers have made 5 of their last 5 field goal attempts. And you know why, Cruz? Because they're getting open looks. They're getting good looks, whether it's at the basket or it's wide open threes. They're making that extra pass. They're driving and kicking and penetrating, and they've done a great job in finding that extra pass to turn a good shot to a great shot so far.
Bargesser in and out on the first. With 6 of 15 coming in to today's contest. 7th game back, missed her first 4 games of the year with a foot injury. She has been riddled with injuries going back to her days in high school. But she's healthy now and was able to split that pair. Indiana with a sizable advantage over this Knights team as we approach halftime. Saved into Bargesser. Nice pass up ahead, and Chesky is all alone. And Chance Dugan wants to talk it over. Timeout Bellarmine. Indiana dominating the fast break point category. Zach, this has been very impressive to watch. Indiana looks like a cohesive unit all the way through.
Yeah, 12-0 Indiana advantage in fast break points. The points off turnover disparity is large as well, 13-2 in favor of Indiana. That was the 9th turnover of this first half from Bellarmine. You can see Jay Chesky just getting out and running. It was a great pass from Bargesser to find her. And that's just an easy, that's a warm-up layup right there. That's layup lines for Sage Chesky. The Hoosiers are getting out and running, and it starts with the suffocating defense. The on-ball pressure, they're making everything difficult for the Knights so far in this first half.
Indiana's opened up a 28-point lead before heading into the locker room. We were talking about whether or not Bellarmine would be able to cut into this lead, but when Indiana goes on a 17-2 run, that's really hard to manage.
It's been 2.5 minutes nearly without a bucket or without points for Bellarmine here in this second frame. And again, it starts defensively. Indiana's defense is creating so many opportunities for its offense because right now the defense, they're getting stops, they're forcing turnovers, they're getting out and running. And at this point, we talked about potentially Coach Dugan and Bellarmine wanting to turn this into a track meet. Well, it has turned into a track meet here in this last couple of minutes of the first half, but it's been in favor of Indiana because the Hoosiers are the ones forcing the turnovers.
Indiana's been able to handle the pressure of Bellarmine so far today. Like you said, mentioned Zach, able to force a lot of turnovers as well. Bellarmine now on the day with 9 of them, 5 alone coming from Haley Harrison. What does Bellarmine need to do at this point in the game? You've got 2.5 minutes to go into the locker room. Obviously, you're not going to be able to get it back to close to where you want to be at, but you can always start.
You're exactly right. It's got to be little by little, increment by increment, and you got to think of the game in segments now if you're the Knights. And it starts defensively for Bellarmine. That's where they've hung their hat on so far to begin this season. They've got to force turnovers. They've got to find a way to speed up this Indiana team and get them sped up and force some turnovers, whether that's a full court pressure, maybe sowing some traps into the half-court defense. They've got to find a way to make Indiana uncomfortable because right now, whether it's in transition, whether it's in the half-court, the Hoosiers just look like they're far too comfortable for the Knights' liking.
We'll see what the Knights can do with 2:34 to go until halftime. And it has been all Indiana since roughly the 5-minute mark of the first quarter. Brown off a double screen. Chesky sticking to her. Toller, and a 10th Bellarmine turnover.
I tell you what, Cruz, Terry Moore and that Indiana bench has to love the defensive intensity shown by the Hoosiers so far tonight. This afternoon, I should say. Shea Chesky right there with some great on-ball defense out top, and then obviously forcing the turnover as well.
Contact away from the ball and a foul on Striplin.
Another impressive thing Indiana's done, that's just the 15th foul here in this frame. The Hoosiers have played good defense, Cruz, and done it without fouling.
They've been very disciplined defensively. Brown nearly lost it. Chesky getting her working on the perimeter, and Vargas are playing free safety. Chesky, a nice crossover. She hops into the lane. Down low, Striplin with the left hand. Carolyn Striplin now with 14 points here in the first half, shooting 6 of 7 from the field.
And Cruz, once she gets the ball in that deep and she's got that good at post position, it's already too late.
Counter for Mia Brown for Bellarmine. Indiana quickly up the floor again, Sandvik. And a foul on the floor.
You can even see it right there, Cruz. Even after makes, Indiana pushing the tempo and getting up the floor in a hurry. It's not allowing Bellarmine to really set up defensively in the half court.
A foul was called on Anna Rogers for Bellarmine. Another Louisville area native out of Mount Washington, Kentucky. And a Bullitt East High School graduate. And so Striplin will step back to the line, a chance for her 15th and 16th points of this first half. And she knocks the first one down. Carolyn Striplin growing up. This is a great story by Seth Toe, the Daily Hoosier. She watched the movie Hoosiers regularly as a kid, actually owned a Hickory hoodie as a kid. Was recruited by Indiana in high school, decided to go to Tennessee for 3 years. And when she entered the portal because of a head coaching change, she was unsure of her role going forward with Tennessee. She only made one visit during her time in the portal. That was to Indiana. Soon thereafter, she committed to Terry Morin's program.
She's been fantastic ever since arriving, too. The growth that she's shown. She, as you mentioned, was unsure of her role at Tennessee. Wasn't going to start here at Indiana, but she has excelled coming off the bench.
Brown, left-handed. Under a minute, it's been a picture-perfect first half for Indiana. Up top, Bargesser spinning into the lane. Nice step through, but you can't finish it off. Toller a step back. She likes those, and you can see why.
We know she's at the top of Indiana's defensive scouting report, and that's exactly why right there. She is deadly from three-point range.
8 seconds separating the shot clock and game clock. 3, Chesky misses everything. And Bellarmine's going to have an opportunity to trim further into this lead before halftime. Brown gets a screen, floater, blocked. And it was last touched by Chesky on the deflection.
Some more great defense from Indiana. So active, contesting everything, making everything difficult for Bellarmine on this end of the floor.
3.8. Rogers gets it in. Brown with one, and she does not get a shot up. A pick.
Cook, still plenty of talent and top-tier teams in this conference.
Indiana will have it coming out of the locker room. And immediately download to Lily Meister.
First half was Caroline Striplin. We'll see if the second half is Lily Meister down low in the paint for Indiana.
Foul down low. And that will send Bellarmine to the free throw line. It's been a difficult task for Indiana to try to replace what Mackenzie Holmes left on the table last year after her graduation. Lily Meister and Caroline Striplin going to be the two major pieces that they use going forward to fill that void.
And also just looking for scoring elsewhere. Maybe it's not 25 plus points a night in the paint for Indiana anymore from one player. Maybe it's a little bit more three-point shooting. Maybe it's a little bit more pull-up jumpers from some area guards. Indiana will find a way, and they're still missing Sydney Parrish, by the way, who's an integral part to this Indiana offense.
2 of them for Haley Harrison. Bellarmine, the comeback kids, as we can call them today, going to have a monumental task on their hands if they want to try to come back and get a road win here in Bloomington. Moore McNeil just hit the 400 career assist mark in the first half. Down low, Meister can't finish it. The offensive rebound to Garzone, and she turns it over. Three-pointer Treadwell, and she buries that one.
Good start, Cruz. Forcing turnovers early are the Knights. That's exactly what they have to do. That's the recipe to get back into this game.
Foul away from the ball, and it's going to go on Bellarmine. Mia Brown tagged for the personal.
Cruz, we'll see if Indiana can kind of keep up the same juice and the level of intensity in the second half.
Foul down low. Meister will go to the free throw line.
In that first half, it was all about pace. It was up-tempo. They looked like they were having fun out there. They were enjoying themselves. Smiles on faces. It was a quick half. Indiana played well. It was probably, as we mentioned, one of the best halves of the season for the Hoosiers. We'll see, though, that's been the issue, is not being able to sustain that for an entire 40 minutes.
Meister off the heel on the first. 71% free throw shooter. 30 of 42 coming into today's matchup.
It's a team in Indiana that's one of the best free throw shooting teams in the country.
And she buries the second one. Indiana 78% as a team from the line. That's 22nd best in the NCAA. And as of right now, first in the Big Ten Conference. Savory throws it out of bounds. Right in between Harris and Treadwell.
See, Indiana's just cutting off those driving lanes, Cruz. It's made it difficult for a guard like Savory to really get north and south. They're really forcing, Indiana is defensively forcing these Bellarmine guards east and west and having them pick up the dribble before they can get to the rim.
Amendola directing traffic, and now she'll create. Down low for 2.
Again, just 5 points now in the game for Amendola, but she does so much to replace the injured Sydney Parrish in that starting lineup for the Hoosiers.
Treadwell was able to gather it back and finish it. Bellarmine also continuing to put on this token press. Chesky handles it beautifully, but Meiser couldn't finish it off. Harrison thought about it, now she'll step into one, and left it well short.
This is that press that's gotten them back into so many games this season, Cruz. See out on the floor though right now for Indiana, 4 capable ball handlers in Chesky, Moore, McNeil, LaMondola, and Garzone. So we'll see if the Hoosiers have much trouble breaking it. It's just a token press right now, not any traps or anything like that, just kind of to keep Indiana on their heels a little bit.
It's worth mentioning again that Bellarmine has completed 3 double-figure comebacks in the final quarter this season. LaMondola from Garzone.
Just fantastic execution on the offensive end. A great pass from Garzone. She's 6'4", so she can see over the defense and deliver that on time and on target.
Treadwell gets cut off by Striplin. Now Brown inside, trying to squeeze it up there. And Garzone clears it for IU. Moore McNeil. Her next assist puts her into 6th place all-time on the all-time assist list. Garzone counted in the foul.
And Cruz, I think that right there is where head coach Chance Dugan has not been happy with her team. You see this drive from Garzone. That help and that dig from Hope Savory is way too late and way too half-hearted in that situation. As Ryan talked with Coach Dugan at the halftime break, she said that she thought her team was getting outworked and out-toughed and out-physicaled, and that right there is a prime example. Just a little bit late and not strong enough help defense there from Savory on the drive from Garzone.
Now 11 for Garzone, that jumper no good. She couldn't pull down the rebound. Harrison picks it up and is fouled by Moore McNeil. Garzone now with 11 points on the day. That's her 10th time in double figures this season.
He's really kind of taken over the leading scorer role for Indiana, especially as you mentioned just a few moments ago, Cruz, with Mackenzie Holmes now gone. Garden Garzone's kind of taken over the reins as the team's primary scoring option, but what makes this team a little bit different is there's so many different players that can go for 20 plus even on any given night.
In and out for Haley Harrison, a 78% free throw shooter. She had her 6-game double-figure streak snapped against Chattanooga, only scored 9 points on 1 of 5 shooting. She made most of her money at the free throw line, went 7 of 8 in that one. Missed both of them. Treadwell there to clean it up. Savory up top. And she left that one off the rim. Indiana by a comfortable 27. Striplin back to Garzone. And she fumbled her way into the lane and traveled.
So that help defense. This is a team in Bellarmine that over-rotates and over-helps a lot, and it's kind of just part of their defensive strategy. They want to make things frantic on that end of the floor. Garzone just trying to dribble through too many defenders on that occasion.
Harrison attacking in another foul.
Indiana can't afford to let this pace kind of slow down. Talked about it in the first half. The Hoosiers did such a good job of playing defense without fouling right there. LaMondola just not showing her hands defensively.
Brown attacking. Three-pointer, Harris, yes. The Louisville native knocking down the 3, her 11th of the year.
Here's some zone defensively. Looks like a 2-3 from Bellarmine, which Indiana's prepared for. They talked about it this morning coming into the contest.
High low, down low for Striplin. She missed it. And Bellarmine gets another stop. Harris just hit one. Treadwell going to work. Treadwell can't score it. Striplin cleans it up. Chesky, 3, in and out. Rebound chased down by Harrison. Pull up 3 on the way, well short. And Savory right there to pick up the miss. Quick pass down low. Brown couldn't get the floater. And Indiana gets a stop.
See how Indiana attacks the zone. The first possession against it, they put Garzone right in the middle.
Chesky found a gap. Pull up. Nice shot from Shea Chesky.
It's a smart drive right there, stopping just before that help defense can get to her at the rim. She's going to knock that floater down 9 times out of 10.
Little trouble with the handoff for Brown. And Chesky gets flagged for the personal foul. That'll take us to the under 5 media timeout for the third quarter. It's Indiana 66, Bellarmine 40 from Bloomington here on Big Ten Plus.
Recruiting, those first couple of years are going to be difficult for any program going from Division II to Division I. You've got to kind of recycle and have a new recruiting class in there at the Division I level, and we're seeing that pay off this year. A 9-2 start to the year for the Knights.
Offensive foul on Bellarmine. Indiana will get it back. We've talked a lot about the women's team for obvious reasons up against Indiana, but their men's team has been the conversation of the university for the better half of the last quarter century under Scotty Davenport's direction. 2011 Division II national champions, won the A-Sun back in 2022, but did not make the postseason due to some of those rules that you have to follow once you make the transition from Division II to Division I. Bargesser on the second opportunity. Savory on the drive. Ball batted up in the air, and Garzone there to scoop it up. Sandvik with a career-high 10 in the first half. Bargesser stripped. Garzone all alone for 3. Got it. Garnet Garzone with her 14th point of the afternoon, and Indiana leads by 31.
And Cruz, something that separates Garzone from other three-point shooters is her shot preparation. She's always got those hands ready. She's always set, and it just makes everything else go so seamlessly.
Harris, tough shot. Wow. Right in the face of Garzone.
That's a tough move right there. Not much Garzone could do defensively. That's just fantastic offense from Ashley Harris.
Bellarmine continues to put out this 2-3 zone. They like to extend it. They like to be aggressive. There's a good example of it right there. Hope Savory getting a deflection.
Yeah, very active hands. They love to get in the driving lanes and poke steals away and make you uncomfortable. And as we talked about so much, Cruz, this Indiana team doesn't look that way. They look confident. They look like they've slowed down. They're taking deep breaths.
Garzone again. That one's strong. And Toller releases for the rebound. Toller the drive down low. Put it up too strong. More McNeil muscling down that rebound. Sandvik down low, and Striplin couldn't get a hand on it. Nice hands in transition for Bellarmine. Rachel Shropshire able to get her hands on that one. Now Harrison down low and a foul. Meister will check back into the game.
Going into halftime, Cruz, Coach Dugan talked about needing to be tougher and needing to be more physical. We've seen it in this third quarter. They've looked stronger. They've looked more physical, has Bellarmine. It hasn't necessarily translated into closing the gap. Indiana now +4 in this third quarter. But you got to like what you're seeing, at least from a process perspective, if you're Coach Dugan and the Knights.
Harrison got it both. Hoosiers by 27. They put together arguably their most complete half of the year to begin this game. Moore McNeil running the baseline. Sandvik sets and fires and knocks it down. And Chloe Moore McNeil moving up in the history books, now 6th all time in career assists at Indiana. Number 401 for her career. Moore McNeil chases it down. Baseball pass to Sandvik. Now Bargesser weaving her way through the paint, and she can't get it. And a correction, that was not number 401 for Chloe Moore McNeil. She had an assist, at least we thought it was an assist earlier in the game. They took that back, so that was number 400. So she is now tied for 6th. One more, and she will move into sole possession of 6th place in IU women's basketball history. There was a big hit over on this near side. The referees are probably going to take a look at this one. Ashley Harris took a ginormous hit.
Foul called against Garzone, and referee Kelsey Reynolds signaled immediately that they were going to take a look at that one over at the scores table. Here's another look at it. Moore McNeil, see it's Garzone that just swipes across the face area of Ashley Harris. Of course, Cruz, in this type of situation, the referees are looking for something that's, quote, not a basketball play. That kind of stuff would trigger an upgrade from a common foul to a flagrant foul.
Well, it's a 30-point lead for Indiana with 1:22 to go here in the third. And we will come back on the other side of this break on Big Ten Plus.
So some free throws here upcoming for Bellarmine. Again, unnecessary was the word that Trey Miles used with me.
So Harrison will step back to the line. Her first shot's good. She'll have one more. And now she's into double figures. That's her 10th point.
A team in Bellarmine that is very good from the free throw line, as is Indiana, about 77% on the season.
Harrison, back-to-back games where she struggled to shoot the ball. Was 1 of 5 in that game against Chattanooga. Only 1 of 4 here tonight, but she is 8 of 10 from the free throw line.
She's taken all 10 of Bellarmine's free throws.
Floater up and good for Erin Toller, who reached the 1,000-point mark in their last game against Chattanooga. Like we've mentioned before, had that game winner. Hit 2 threes that game, and they both came in the last 8 seconds. Part of that 5-point comeback that Bellarmine completed in that same time span. Down low, Meister from Chesky.
Great pass there from Chesky, right to the left shoulder of Meister, so Meister could just catch, turn, and go up with it all in one motion. Meister now up to 9 points in this ball game.
And a travel. Anna Rogers getting a little bit too sped up in the paint. Treadwell checks back in for Bellarmine. It'll be a 2.5-second difference between shot clock and game clock for IU.
You can realistically make this the last shot of the quarter here, Cruz. You take enough time off the clock.
Bellarmine extending their defense. Lamandola down low. Moore McNeil escapes pressure. Hoosiers have handled it so far, down to 7. Lamandola sets and fires. No, Sandvik there for the rebound with 3. Sandvik out to Moore McNeil at the horn. Off the back rim, no good. And that's how the third quarter comes to an end. Well, you'll see it all unfold over the next 10 minutes here on Big Ten Plus. Indiana searching for their 8th win of the year. And if a comeback starts, that would be the initiator right there, Erin Toller.
You know she is clutch, that is for sure.
Had 2 threes in the final 8 seconds of that game against Chattanooga, including the game winner. Lead cut down to 26. We talked about Indiana keeping their foot on the gas pedal when they get up to a big lead like this, a foul away from the ball on Bellarmine. And that's exactly what's going to have to happen. It's going to have to hold true over the last 9:25.
And it's interesting, Cruz, because Bellarmine's not extending this defensive pressure very far out to the perimeter in this 2-3 zone. They'll go man, it looks like, potentially here on the baseline out of bounds.
And a foul on Toller as Chesky was trying to curl her way into the ball.
As I was saying, though, Cruz, this defensive pressure is not extending out very far towards the perimeter. The two top players in the zone, Hope Savory and Aaron Toller, playing well below the three-point line.
2-3 zone still being put out by Bellarmine. They put out a 1-3-1 for a little bit against Chattanooga. Down low Meister, and now officially Chloe Moore McNeil moving into 6th all-time on the Indiana all-time assist list, number 401 of her career.
It's a great pass to do it on as well. One right to the hands of the outstretched arms of Meister. Only Meister could go up and get that one.
That shot short, and Sandvik picks it up. Up ahead, Chesky. Nice crossover. La Mendola, 3 on the way. Strong, no. And Treadwell picks it up. Toller using the screen. And she left that 3 short. La Mendola there to snag it. And a travel, I believe, was just called.
It looked like Chesky kind of got started there a little bit too early.
Well, we'll send it down to Ryan Costello, who has more on Chloe Moore McNeil.
Yes, Chloe just made history. She is now 6th all-time in career assists at Indiana with 401. And while number 22 has been a dominant force for the Hoosiers starting lineup over the last 3 seasons, starting 75 straight games, it hasn't always been that way. Her freshman year, she only averaged 7.6 minutes and 1.3 points. But when I asked the coaching staff about her growth, they said her confidence and leadership have ever grown into a great player. And she's now averaging career highs in points and minutes per game. Guys?
Ryan, thank you so much. Chloe Moore McNeil continues to cement her legacy here at Indiana. And a turnover. Savory into the front court. That's a long 3. And it was short. She came off the bench her first couple of years at Indiana, though. Back in the days of Ali Patberg, who sits on the bench now. Mackenzie Holmes as well. Nicole Cardano-Hillary. And only a couple years back did she start getting consistent starting minutes. And she has done a terrific job over the last 3 years at solidifying herself as a leader. She missed the 3 right there. Bellarmine taking it back the other direction. Rogers chases it down and has to save it. And that's where Sandvik will pick it up.
And Cruz, Moore McNeil's not done making history this season. She's nearing 1,000 career points as well. She'll hit that at some point here in the coming weeks.
Came into the game 69 points away from reaching that coveted 1,000 point mark. On the day, just 2 points. Sandvik has a career high already today. She couldn't put that one in. Treadwell, full head of steam down low. And Beam shovels it back to Harrison. Left it short. Chesky picks it up. Sandvik one-on-one with Savory. And Savory picked her pocket. It'll bounce out of bounds. Indiana will hang on to it.
Great defense there from Savory. She's going to have to check out now as Ashley Harris comes back in. And a loud round of applause there for Chloe Moore McNeil. She heads to the bench likely for the last time tonight.
And for Bellarmine, Hope Savory just walked to the locker room. There's a look at the all-time assist list for Chloe Moore McNeil. Was a little bit shaken up as she walked over to the bench. As Garzone knocks down the jumper.
It's also good to see Ashley Harris back into the game, Cruz, for the Knights. She took that shot earlier from Yarden Garzone.
She had to go back to the locker room as well. It's good to see her back out there. And she almost knocked in that jumper. Indiana continuing to dissect this zone. Chesky counted the foul. Double figures now for Shea Chesky. And she'll make her first trip to the free throw line here and a chance to complete the 3-point play.
You mentioned double figures for Chesky. That's now her 5th game of the season. crossing that 10-point threshold. She had 34 earlier this year in a win over then number 18 Baylor. She had 34 in that game, and she's so good at getting into the lane. She's not strictly a standstill catch and shoot three-point shooter. She's so good at getting into the lane and finishing in and around the basket.
Spent 2 years at Penn State, now her 42nd game in double figures in her career. Down low, Beam caught it and was able to finish it. Beam, another Louisville native for this Bellarmine team. Plenty of hometown heroes playing for the Knights.
And Cruz, Coach Dugan talked about needing to come out and play better and play harder in this final frame, and that's exactly what the Knights have done. Right now, just being outscored by 3 in the final quarter. They were outscored by 4 in the third quarter, so just -7 for Bellarmine here in the second half. Much, much better after they took a 24-point deficit into the halftime locker room.
Striplin's shot was rejected by Anna Rogers. Jump ball will keep it with Indiana. And Valentina Kadlkova will check in for Zajewski.
Kadlkova, a freshman out of the Czech Republic, has played sparingly this season, but Indiana has high hopes for her. She's a tall forward that can shoot the ball.
She got open, she missed that one. Sandvik there to save it. And a good job by Anna Rogers of getting out of the way.
And Cruz, we talked coming in about the size advantage for Indiana, and especially in that first quarter, how they might utilize that on the offensive glass. But Bellarmine's done a good job boxing out and corralling defensive rebounds. Only 9 offensive boards for the Hoosiers compared to 6 for the Knights in this contest.
Long three on the way and knocking it in. Rachel Shropshire.
It's a player that has to step up for Bellarmine as the season goes on. Of course, the injury to true freshman Hannah Abdullah. So that forces Shropshire into a little bit bigger of a role than maybe anticipated.
Her first field goal make of the season. And Caroline Striplin will have a chance at a three-point play.
Striplin quiet so far in the second half. That's just her first bucket of this second half here this afternoon, but she was fantastic, as you mentioned, in that first half. 15 points on 6 of 7 shooting. And she earns a trip to the line, which she gets to the free throw line a lot, Cruz, and you can shoot as well as she can from that charity stripe. That's always a great thing.
.45 points over the last 2 games for Caroline Striplin.
That's pretty good, isn't it?
Got to think.
I think Indiana will take that off the bench.
Shropshire fouled. She'll go to the free throw line when we come back. 4:53 to go. Indiana up 31 points over Bellarmine here on Big Ten Plus.
5 points allowed to a team in Bellarmine that's averaging 79.6 per game. I'm not sure exactly what Indiana's defensive score was today. I know every game they have a defensive goal that they try and hold teams under. I'd imagine they're near that right now.
Well, 4.5 to go. Shropshire will step to the free throw line for Bellarmine as we return to action, and she knocks down the first. Indiana headlined by 5 double-figure scorers already so far tonight. Caroline Striplin leading the way with 18 points. As Shropshire knocks down the second, Garzone with 16. Henna Sandvik with a career-high 13 points. And Chesky and Meister both with 11 on the day. The lead 29 for IU. Striplin almost got stripped. Down low, Bargesser wide open.
And Cruz, I think we're seeing the fruits of and the rewards from this tough non-conference schedule that Indiana played. Scheduling teams like Harvard and Brown, two of the top teams in the Ivy League. A game against a really good Southern Indiana team a few weeks ago. This is a really good Bellarmine team as well, but Indiana's battle tested before they even get into the heart of Big Ten play.
Late whistle, but a foul called on Striplin on the perimeter. Three shots on the way for Shropshire. And Yarden Garzone more than likely taking a seat for the final time this afternoon.
Another good performance from Garzone, the team's leading scorer coming into this one, averaging 14.6 points per game. She's going to end this one with 16. She made 50% of her threes as well.
You know, Zach, you mentioned the non-conference slate that Indiana has just went through, and they still have another game coming in a couple of days. But how prepared do you think they'll be when Big Ten play comes around? Like you mentioned earlier in the broadcast, we have the 2 California teams new to the Big Ten coming into Assembly Hall in just under a month. And obviously every year the Big Ten's tough, and this year's going to be no exception.
And the Big Ten is a little bit different this year because there's not just 2 or 3 good teams at the top. 1 through 8, even 9, have really good cases to make the NCAA tournament, at least coming into Big Ten play. So Indiana, as you mentioned, it is important to be battle-tested, and that's exactly what the Hoosiers have done. You know, 3 losses throughout non-conference play to begin the season isn't ideal, but Indiana has been through it. They've been through ups and downs, and that will only pay off and be rewarding for the Hoosiers as Big Ten play begins.
Terry Moore calling a timeout and a substitution into the game. Martinsville, Indiana native Faith Wiseman making her first appearance here today.
Wiseman played at Indian Creek High School. You know, she's got plenty of fans in attendance.
She didn't start out playing basketball, Faith Wiseman. She was a cheerleader back in kindergarten. Her dad played D2 basketball, also D3 basketball. Was able to convince Faith to play. She grew up going to IU games. When the program started showing up to her games, she actually thought they were there for her teammates. The coaching staff wanted her to visit it in person. She was offered the same day that she was visited. She had her shot stuffed right there.
One of the more dominant high school basketball players in the state of Indiana the last couple of years.
Brown lost it out of bounds.
And Wiseman's got a unique skill set. Standing at 6'4", she can put the ball on the floor a little bit. She's got a jump shot that, as of now, extends out to around 15-ish feet. She's great around the basket, has great footwork. Indiana is expecting a lot from her as her career goes on.
Still has yet to score her first career point. She's had a couple of opportunities in games prior, and every time she touches the ball, Simon Scott Assembly Hall holds their breath waiting for those first career points from the Martinsville native. Foul called on Bellarmine. Anna Rogers picking that one up.
And a great moment right there on the bench. Sydney Parrish standing up. Same with Yarden Garzone. They're still teaching. This is a young group on the floor right now for Indiana with Valentina Kadlikova, Faith Wiseman as well, Juliana Lamandola out there too for the Hoosiers. This is a young group on the floor, and the veteran leadership for the Hoosiers still remaining engaged in the game.
Valuable minutes for some of these players who don't typically see nearly as much time. And with the injury bug that Indiana has caught this season, you know, they're going to have to be ready at a moment's notice.
We've already seen it prove so valuable for a player like Juliana Lamandola early this year.
And Sydney Fenn, along with Lene Beaumont and Sydney Parrish, all out for today's game. Parrish picked up a knee injury in the Bahamas and has yet to play since. Though Terry Moore optimistic that she'll be back in the coming weeks. Sandvik the board. Career high for Sandvik today. And a very efficient shooting clip as well. Bargesser. No, Wiseman there. Still looking for her first career point. She gets rid of it instead. Sandvik again. Can't get that one. And Wiseman trying to go over the top, called for the foul.
But see, if you're Terry Moore and you don't mind that foul, in a game like this, Wiseman just trying to be aggressive on the offensive glass, make the most out of her minutes. Cruz, I go back to those turnover numbers, though. 17 of them this afternoon for Bellarmine, just 11 for Indiana. We talked at the Open. That was going to be a big number to watch, and Indiana's won the turnover battle.
Shropshire picked it up and was fouled. Again, this is a Bellarmine team that, on average, this isn't just one game, this is on average, turns teams over 21 times every outing. And for Indiana to only have 11 on the day, that's spectacular.
And especially considering turnovers have been a little bit of an issue to begin the year for Indiana. Again, you go back to that loss to Harvard, 27 of them for the Hoosiers in that overtime loss. So it's a great sign for Terry Moore and co. that they were able to limit the turnovers against such a good defensive team.
Counting the foul for Case Hyman. Hyman, the 5'10 freshman from Irmo, South Carolina, has an opportunity to complete the three-point play. Zach, Indiana averages 68 points a game. They have been able to tally 88 tonight on Bellarmine. This is a game where we thought Bellarmine would like to try to get up and down. Indiana was more than ready to take on that challenge.
Indiana's flipped the script. This has been a game played. Yes, we know Indiana likes to play fast, but that might, we thought, play into the hands of Bellarmine a little bit, but it has not in this game.
Juliana Lamandola from up top. And she extends the lead back to 31 with under 90 seconds. Harris hop step into the lane. Rogers a three. Strong. Lamandola will chase it down for Indiana. Lamandola just hit one. Now two-man game with Bargesser and Wiseman. Kadalkova a triple. Why not? Kadalkova knocking down her first three of the season.
That's why Indiana's so high on Valentina Kadalkova. She's got the ability to space the floor at 6 foot tall. She can also put the ball on the floor, a very dynamic guard.
Offensive foul called on Bellarmine. This is the first time since the home game against Purdue a season ago back in February that Indiana has been able to tally 90 plus. As Lamandola will take a seat, and Charnice Curry-Jelks making her first appearance tonight as well.
The former UT Martin transfer, Curry-Jelks into the game. But Cruz, back to what you said, 94 points on the board for Indiana, and again, this is a really, really good defensive team in the Bellarmine Knights that loves to turn you over. The Hoosiers, though, have just been better so far in this ballgame. They came in with a game plan, they executed it well, and you're seeing the result on the scoreboard.
Wiseman left the floater short. Indiana fouls. Shot clock is now blank.
And see, even right now, Cruz, still a teachable moment. Terry Morin has Hannah Sandvik, Lexus Bargesser, and Valentina Kadalkova over on the sideline during this free throw. Still going over things. There's 24.7 seconds to go. This is a 30-plus point game. But for Terry Morin and her squad, this is still a moment where things can be learned.
Rebound comes down to Wiseman. And Chance Dugan wanting a foul. Now we'll send Lexus Bargesser to the free throw line. Wonder what the strategy was there.
I don't know, there's a little bit of a smile on Chance Dugan's face over there on the away bench.
Bargesser knocks down the first. 95 for Indiana.
In her defense, with the advanced metrics that are around college sports and especially college basketball in this day and age of college hoops, margin of loss, margin of victory, that kind of stuff matters.
Curry jumps there for the offensive rebound. Sandvik up top. And now Indiana will run out the clock. A complete game, start to end for Indiana. A 95-61 win over the Bellarmine Knights with the Cream and Crimson.